to Snowmoongames. And today, here's the thing. I gotta go to work. I do have a couple boxes I gotta film, but for the purpose of this video, I need to get ready for work. So we're gonna get ready together. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me. We're gonna call it like the corner with snow or something like that. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I hope everybody's doing well today. I have been having really weird dreams. And here's the thing. Let me turn this one light off. You'll be able to see me fine. Here's the thing. I have had gifts my whole life. And I know there's a lot of people out there that may or may not believe that people have gifts. Ooh. Kind of going through a couple of my old boxes that I got in the last couple months. Seeing what I have. Kind of deep diving. Talking. Hope that's okay. But I've had gifts my whole life. And a lot of people may not believe in that. But a lot of mine come through in my dreams. And sometimes they tell me things or show me things. And they don't make sense to me. Usually, I can find out, what is this? Oh, a nail cream. Sometimes I can find out people or find out, like, that they belong to certain people and I can talk to just that person. And lately, though, they kind of have nobody they go to. Like, they just have these dreams and I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, the guy in that dream wanted me to tell someone some kind of saying that they always say, and I will know nobody that knows what that goes to. So, a lot of times I just end up confused and you don't know what to say to anyone. But I've had that gift. I've had the ability to see spirits and know, and not that ghost whisperer, Jennifer Love Hewitt kind of way. Hell, not even in the medium kind of way. A lot of the times I don't see them the way everybody would perceive that you see them. They're flashes and they disappear. I've learned to vent that. So, if you've ever seen a shadow out of the corner of your eye and you thought, oh, and looked back, because a lot of the times that's what you do when you see shadows, you're like, and you look back instantly, but there's nothing else there, and the shadow is gone. Here's the thing. The shadow may or may not have been a ghost. Now, if you don't believe in ghosts, it's not going to be ghosts, but might be ghosts. Just because you don't believe in them, they could believe in you. But aside from that, like, if you're a very spiritual person, you know that typically your eyes will not allow you to see the things that you are not ready to see. It protects the mind. So if your mind is not in the point that it can allow you to see spirits, it's not going to let you see a spirit. It kind of like, think of it as it protects you on what you can and can't handle. Now, that being said, you're like going, let's say that you're someone who wants to see spirits or commune with people that talk to spirits, and you try talking to people and they're like, oh, well, it's just a gift. Here's the thing. That's true to an extent, but not always. It's not that it's a gift to a person. It's a gift to us all. And funnily enough, everybody can see spirits. Now, sometimes we block this. They say that most children before the age of 5 see spirits or know where they came from, Some people say that they remember being in heaven or all kinds of stuff. But their ability to explain it to us is very slim because they're under the age of 5. So, with time, we forget. Well, it's not that we forget, but our parents tell us the monsters under the bed are indeed not real. And we believe they're not real, and eventually we learn to block that out. That being said, not everybody's that way. I'm sure that not everyone was as dismissed as a child, or maybe you aren't dismissing your child that says it, and you're like, but I don't see them. You don't have to see them. First, understand that they're probably there. If someone looks at you and says, I saw someone, it's probably there. Now, let's say you walk past a room and you saw a shadow and it moved. Well, of course, you'll go back and you'll look. You'll go, oh, what was that? This is where your mind starts to allow you to breathe and take it in. So, we all have the ability to recall a room. It's called a photographic memory. Try it sometime. Think about how your house looks while you're sitting in bed as you walk down your hall and into your bathroom. Is your sink on the right or is it on the left? Is the toilet beside it? Is the bathtub against the wall? Is it on this side? Maybe your shower's right here. Think about walking into the kitchen to get yourself a drink. Do you walk straight into the kitchen to get your drink? Is your sink over here? Do you look out the mirror when you run the faucet? What you're actually doing is visually scanning your house mentally. Like you're taking in what is in your environment. And this allows for your brain and your mind to process things that it has seen that you didn't get to see. So when you recall a room, sometimes you'll see in your photographic memory, allow all of it to come. You will not block it out. You will notice as you walk through your living room sometimes, or your bathroom, that there's a gray area in a corner. This isn't your brain not knowing what's there. You live in that house. You walk through that house. You know what's in that corner. Whether it be the corner in the shower that has all your shampoos or conditioners, whether it be the corner or we're sitting on your couch. Like there's just a gray thing sitting on your couch. That's not a person that you just aren't remembering. Well, it is, essentially. It is a person that your brain doesn't know. That is an energy. Now, the first couple times that you do it, of course, it's just going to be a gray smoggy thing. It will start to have definition. It will start to allow you to see what exactly it is. The more advanced it gets, the more you'll be able to tell if it's male, if it's female, is it a child, is it somebody you know, maybe it's your great aunt that just really liked that couch. I mean, I'm not in your house, I don't know. But sometimes it's just as simple as that. Now, I have unlocked that ability at a very young age, and I had practiced for many, many years. So what happens to me in that state of half awake and half asleep, sometimes I replay my day. And often, as I replay my day, I will see something that I didn't see when I lived that day. Oh, new brushes. So, it got to the point where I went from being able to recall my day and see such things. Now, randomly, sometimes I see them in my day. Sometimes I don't know I see them. Sometimes I'm very aware I see them. Often they do not speak to me. Sometimes they do. That's why shows like the ghost shows that everybody loves watching, and trust me, I'm right there, are not completely accurate. We don't get to commune with them at will. We don't get to call on them at will. We don't normally go, hey, if you're really here, turn on this flashlight. Is it fun to watch? Absolutely. Absolutely, I'm right there. Ghost hunters, ghost whisperer, ghost this, ghost that, paranormal investigators, been there, done that. I actually have the keychain for the ghost hunters, so, you know, hey. So don't think that it's not something that we all watch. We all do enjoy it, especially me. So, let me tell you a few stories about mine. No, they're not scary. Promise. One of my most notable ones was, so my grandfather. Now, this is highly personal and argumentative. People will definitely have opinions, but that's okay. My grandfather had mesothelioma. Lovely man, raised me like my dad, and like taught me to drive. Even though I almost wrecked the car, he made me get back out after he pulled it out. He backed it out of the ditch. He made me get back out and get back right back in the car. I have nothing bad to say about my grandpa. He was a fantastic guy. He developed mesothelioma. He was pretty young. And he was 71. And the doctors told him that he may live 6 months if he had chemo. So he did do chemo and radiation. I was a whopping age of 22, 23, when my grandfather was sick. I mean, I wasn't a child. This wasn't like baby talk. I'm not remembering it from like how I think it was. Like, granted, I was young, but I know what I saw. And my grandfather passed away in December of 1998. I just turned 23 years old. My son was a baby. He was asleep on the couch. I'll never forget that day. The carolers, it was Christmas time. It was like the 20th. The carolers had came by. My grandma loved them. They were from our church. They were singing. They sang, "Angels we have heard on high." And my grandpa, because my grandma was at the door watching them, asked me if they were singing in English. And I told him yes, that they in fact were singing in English. He had told me several times that one of his friends was in the hallway in a red sweater. I never saw that person. They had already passed. This had been like our days leading up to this. Often he would tell us that there was people there that had not been there. Anyway, so after the carolers were done, I had told my grandmother that I would run the trash around the house to the curb because it was trash day. So I went out the back door, and in our family we have that. I don't know if every family does, but if you go out a door, you go back in a door. So I went out the back door, so I had to go back in the back of the house. So I had dragged the trash around, and I came in the back door, and when I came in the back door, my grandmother was frantic. And thus began big 2 hour on my grandfather and his passing. It wasn't even 2 hours really, but that's regardless. So in that, after he had passed, the ambulance was there. I called a few people. They were already there. I contacted the church minister because my grandmother wanted him to come out and say some words before they removed the body. And it's a very chaotic time. If you ever have had someone pass in the house that had been sick, you know it's a very chaotic time. You have people that come out to double check the medication, especially if they're on hospice care, and he had been. And there's just people that have heard or called, contacted other people. They show up. Somebody saw the ambulance from down the street. My best friend had, and came up to the house to find out what was going on. If you ever have had someone terminally ill living in the house, you know everybody's waiting. They all know the signs, and they're all right there. So it was a very chaotic. However, the more the day went, the evening went, even though it was like a couple hours, the more I could not breathe. I felt like there was 50 people in the house. So I had been trying to go from room to room to room to get away from everybody. I ended up in the kitchen making my son a drink when the pastor was doing his last rites over the body. And my mom was with the hospice nurse going through the medication. Everybody else was in the living room. And I had told my grandfather before the ambulance got there. I had leaned over to him because he had stroked. He actually, we think he had a stroke. The cancer actually was moving into his throat anyway, but I think he had a stroke. Anyway, he looked down the hallway. My grandmother had told me, and he just simply quit responding. When I came in the house, we called 911, and he was flatlined by the time they got here. But while she was on the phone with hospice and the ambulance, I had told my grandfather if he was going, that he better go. Because my grandfather didn't want to die at a hospital. And I knew he'd hold on for all of his girls. For my grandmother, for his girls, and for me. And I told him to go. That they would be here soon and he needed to go. Now, a lot of people, my mother included, said that it was very not selfish of me for encouraging him to pass before the ambulance got there, that if they were in my shoes, they probably could not have done such a thing. But my grandfather suffered greatly, and I knew he had. And I knew he'd do anything to stay. So I had told him that we'd be fine. Everything was going to be okay. Fast forward, I'm in the kitchen making my son his bottle, and they are in there doing their last rites, and I hear my grandfather say that everything is going to be okay. And for a brief second, your brain shuts down, and I thought that maybe something somebody did had brought him back. Spoiler. I just heard my grandfather. And that actually was not scary. I hear a lot of people tell me all the time that if they ever saw a ghost, it would scare them so bad. It really doesn't. I really didn't know. So, fast forward a couple of weeks. My son was staying with my grandmother, and at the time, after my grandfather's death, he had an issue staying all night. It was a hit and miss. Some days he really wanted to. Oh, we get with Grandma Kay. Oh, we get with Grandma Kay. And other days he'd get over there, and as soon as she turned off the light, I want to go home. I want to go home. So my grandmother was very aggravated with this. He want to stay, don't want to stay, want to stay, don't want to stay. And when my grandmother was aggravated, you wanted to stay away from her, and you wanted to not be in the same room with her. She was an amazing woman, but holy smokes, when she was pissed, you just wanted to go. Like, just go. So she calls me. Come get him. So I packed myself in the car and drove over to get him before he annoyed her too much. Which actually, it was a momentarily annoyed. My grandmother didn't stay annoyed. She just was annoyed, and then she just wasn't the next day. Usually when she was tired was when she got annoyed. Anyway, so I drove over to get him from her house and take him back to the house so that she could go on to sleep. And I go up to the house to ring the doorbell, and I see my grandpa walk from the kitchen to the bedroom. He did it every night. By the time he was going to bed, he'd get himself a drink of water, drink his water, and then head back to the bedroom the back way, because they had a little walk, like you go through the laundry room, and then there was a door into a bathroom. It was like a half bath, and then the next door was to their master, so they could shut off that. It was like having a master suite in the 90s. That's the way you had a master suite, let me tell you. So it was like their own master suite. And anyway, I saw him walk through there and go into the back of the house. I didn't think anything about it. It happened every single night. She comes to the door. She's distraught. I pack up my son's stuff. He wanted to go home and see his mama. I want to go home and see his mama. I live with my mom. So I get him packed up and I take him home. And I apologize to my grandma, who keeps telling me, oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I'm just tired. Wasn't fine. Told me to hurry my butt up. So, just saying, love you, rest your soul. Was not the best night. But I packed up my son's stuff, which really isn't a lot. He had stuff at her house and stuff at my house, so I didn't actually pack up much more than just him. I didn't have to, like, take diaper bags or anything. He was only, like, 4 years old. And, I took him home. Let her go on to bed. Told her I'd see her tomorrow. Loved her. Get in the car. Saw her turn the light off. And it dawns on me. My grandpa was dead. So, I cried a little bit in the car. And then I drove home. And I just gotta put an eyeliner on. I think we'll go purple today. And, mascara, and I don't know if I'm gonna, like, contour or do anything else. Like I said, it's like, what time is it? Computer, what time is it?
The time is 11:09 a.m.
Okay.
Enjoy your morning coffee.
Oh, wow. That was highly personal. Anyway, I have to be at work at next hour or so. So, this thing does not work very well. You know what? Does the other one work better? Oh, geez. I hope I have a liquid. I don't even have a liquid right now. I just have 2 crayons. Maybe this one will work better. So, nor do I think I was emotionally prepared to deal with most of it. To be fair, I was 20, and my grandfather was like the sun and the moon to me, so I might not have been emotionally prepared for it, so I wouldn't have retained it anyway. My grandfather never got sick, and that is not working. I will have to put on eyeliner later. I do not have a liquid. This is not a liquid. No liquid anywhere. Well, poo-poo. I guess I will put on eyeliner later in the car on the way to work. So, apparently, that's what kinds of things happen when you see things that aren't there. Which, for me, is an everyday occurrence. So, to wrap this up, this is one of many stories. By the way, I have tons and tons of stories. If this is something you want me to ramble on about, hell, I can do that. I have stories from when I was a kid, stories from when I was a young adult. Hell, I got stories from just last week. You can just leave me a comment and tell me. You can go over a few of them. I will tell you that I have never been harmed by a ghost or a spirit. I have never seen one and thought that I was in jeopardy. I have never have I ever seen a ghost that scared me. Freaked me out, maybe. But freaked out is a little bit different than scary. Like, hell, I can get freaked out if someone jumps wrong and yells boo. So, I mean, like, freaked out is not the word that I would use as, like, Halloween, oogly boogly, scary. I mean, it doesn't creep me out. That being said, at 2 a.m. woke up with someone standing over the bed. Not the best experience. Don't like that happening. Like, we have an understanding. Room is off limits. So, not saying that things like that doesn't happen. Just saying that when it comes down to it, I am not someone that has ever had a really negative experience happen. They've all been, for the most part, calm, serene, one-off. Usually someone I've known or know. Sometimes not always, because I'll tell you, I have a lot of random that try to talk to me. Like that guy that wanted to tell me that phrase that he keeps saying. I don't know. You always got it when you got it. I don't know. Maybe it means something to somebody out there. It's just a weird thing. Like, that's the only part of it I remember. It's like when you got it, you got it good, or you always got it when you got it. I don't know exactly how it is. It's nothing I've ever heard. So, but he kept telling it to me like it was going to make sense to me. By the way, just so you know, no, it didn't make sense to me. Still, to this moment, it did not make sense to me. I don't understand it. But I get that a lot. I get the little kids that talk to me, that want to play games with me. I don't always have time to play games, but I really appreciate the thought that my time should be playing games. Thank you very much. I've had them play peekaboo, most notably the peekaboo one. That was a funny story. So I can go into more and more depth. But like I said, try practicing. Anyone that's been watching this that really wants to learn how to see, and the first step to do is start mentally walking through your house with your photographic memory and recalling your rooms. Once you start doing that, you'll see shadows here and there, like I said, and after a time they'll start to become clear. No, I very rarely see them one-off like me and you. Usually I see them when I remember what I did that day right before I go to bed. I think about that day ever so often. I do get them out of the corner of my eye, and since I've been practicing that technique for so long, when I see them out of the corner of my eye, they are an actual person that I can recall, because here's the thing. If you think about this logically, this makes utter sense. When someone says to you, tell me what you saw, and you've witnessed a crime of some kind, what are you essentially doing? You're recalling the event that you've already witnessed or lived through. So, when you see somebody in passing out of the corner of your eye, when you whip and they're gone, you're recalling what you saw here. That is why when you lay down and you walk through your house, in your memory, what you're doing is you're recalling your house. You're heightening your photographic memory. You're making your memory stronger. The stronger it becomes, the better it can see the things that you don't always see with your eyes. Food for thought. So, no, this isn't like the best look I did. It's actually kind of bland if you ask me. The eyes have the pink and yellow from the Huda Beauty's pastels. It's a really pretty palette. I picked it up. I liked it. But it's primarily pinks and purples and pastel colors. So the look is pretty much a pastel-y color. But that's okay, because, dude, I fucking work retail, and it doesn't matter if I'm like 110. Okay. Now, with that being said, this video will end. I'm going to film my 2 unboxings so I can go to work. And I hurt your face. Maybe I will film one of these ever so often so that we can have a discussion about it. I will not be wearing my glasses for my next video because it glares. But I hurt your face, and I will see you in the next video. Let's try that again. I hurt your face, and have an amazing day. Bye.